continue that way.
Morgan?
So recognizing you're saying this is provincial jurisdiction, but today the federal public safety minister said that they will be demanding compliance. Mm-hmm. So with that, what is the next step then for Alberta? You're going to do one thing, the federal government says you will not.
Look, the federal government has enacted this gun buyback scheme, and it's been ongoing for several years now. But we know that provinces, not just Alberta, but provinces across the country, are simply not buying into this scheme. We know that Ontario and Saskatchewan, along with Alberta, have been very vocal about their intention not to cooperate with the federal government's decision to implement this gun buyback program. And we know that there are examples, one of which is the obvious one is the Cape Breton pilot project, where the federal government announced that they would begin by piloting the buyback in Cape Breton and expected to collect 200 firearms from that pilot. The rumors indicate that they've only collected 22 firearms. And so we think that, again, this is a clear indication that Canadians simply do not buy into this scheme. We know that $750 million thus far has been allocated to the gun buyback program, but that it disproportionately impacts law-abiding, honest Canadians. It's just a policy that we simply won't stand with. The federal government's free to enact whatever scheme buyback program they wish, and we're certainly within our purview not to cooperate with it.
And then for follow-up, do you foresee there being challenges between giving a directive to a body, like for instance you're saying municipal policing, RCMP, and then them not knowing whose directive to follow, like if they ask the federal government or the province?
Well, look, I think our provincial entities, our provincial agencies know full well that the province is the one that they will take guidelines and instructions from. So I don't foresee that to be a problem. I think yesterday, if any of you were at the news release yesterday with Minister Ellis, I think it was the chief of police there indicated that they would not intend to cooperate or comply with this, that it was of low priority for them too, that they have much bigger priorities to deal with. Serious criminals, the rampant bail problems that we're having across this country, catch and release issues, those are the problems that we're asking the federal government to dedicate their resources to. When you take a program that targets people who have done everything that they should have done, by taking the gun safety courses, by being properly vetted by the chief firearms officer, for example, and taking the appropriate hunter safety courses and gun handling courses and properly storing their firearms, and then creating criminals out of those individuals, Alberta will not stand by that.
It is a complete and utter failure, this program is. It says a lot about a government that wants to go after legal gun owners, law-abiding citizens. It's not going to happen. Legal, responsible gun owners in Alberta and all across Canada will not give up their guns to this ultra-corrupt and unethical government. This thing in 2020 was only supposed to cost an estimated $200 million. It's at like $785 million now, I believe. It's crazy what this thing has ballooned to. $785 million. That money so far has went to administrative setup, planning, surveys, salaries for 60 federal employees, contracts, $1.1 million to IBM for framework development, and $22 million in actual compensation paid out to businesses so far for the 12,000 plus firearms collected in only phase one, which is close to April 30th, 2025 numbers. No compensation has been paid to individual owners yet, 22 firearms, as the national rollout for them is slated for 2026. I think Mark Carney is going to get rid of this because it's going to reach $1 billion. $785 million is a lot of money, but it doesn't register in the brains of Canadians yet until it reaches 1 billion, because we're used to this government now. 785 million's nothing when this government pisses away billions on a daily basis. And I'm going to give you another crazy example of this right now. The Parliamentary Budget Officer gave a report today on the housing strategy, and it is exactly what we expected. Listen to this.
Vancouver East, the NDP critic for immigration, refugee, citizenship, and housing, amongst other things. I'm here today to respond to the Parliamentary Budget Officer's report that was just tabled this morning. It was a shocking report in the sense that the findings, particularly, is deeply concerning. As we know, the Prime Minister has spoke excessively about this new generational investment in housing, building more housing than we have ever seen since World War II. What the Parliamentary Budget Officer, of course, uncovered in that report was to indicate that the commitment from the government in the delivery of housing amounts to 26,000 units over 5 years. Of that, only 13,000 of those units would be truly affordable.
Only 13,000 would be affordable. The only provinces making houses at an accelerated rate, like the numbers that are on track to sustainability, is Alberta and Saskatchewan.
So this in the backdrop of the Parliamentary Budget Officer having tabled a report in the summer indicating that for Canada to meet its housing gap in this housing crisis, the government would need to see 290,000 units of housing developed each year for 10 years. If you look at the numbers or the report that was tabled by CMHC, in their estimation, that number actually jumps up to somewhere around 380,000 units each year for 10 years. So the commitment on this new generational investment that the government's talking about, it is barely a drop in the bucket.
They're taking the money, just like they always do. So now that young Canadians know they're never going to get a house, what do you think they're going to do? What do you think's going to happen with all of this? Nothing is going to happen with all of this. You can't vote change in a country that has systemic corruption that is being run by the blob. All roads lead to Western independence or complete provincial independence, a complete dissolve of federal government. Complete reform, top down, bottom up, by the people, for the people. Seriously. It is the only way. Voting will not fix or get rid of the blob. I will keep you updated with as much as I can when I can. All of you out there, like, share, and take care.